I'm not always the best when it comes to surviving in hardcore worlds. I mean, at least in the last couple years, whenever I've played hardcores, the runs have been very short, let's say that. Oh no, I fucked up. And I've also, you know, gained this policy of I don't want to be making YouTube videos just for the sake of making YouTube videos. There's a reason to make them. There's either something I want to record, something I want to work on. It's not something I want to fulfill for anyone else at this point. Recently, I came across a series called UHC Generations. The video I stumbled upon was done by Code Neon. Code Neon lost his inherited world. And when I heard this, I thought, what is this? That is such a unique thought, such a unique idea. So I watched his video, and I watched the person who came after him. And what I found was a world full of lore that was made by previous players in a hardcore world. Now, they're doing ultra hardcore. And I know with my track record, that zombie's got a knife. It is probably not a good idea for me to play in ultra hardcore. But I thought, what an interesting idea to make a world that you pass on to someone else once you have failed. But that's part of the goal. Part of the goal is to enjoy the failure. And that is something I have a really hard time with. No fucking way, God damn it! Whenever I've lost a hardcore world, I've beat myself up. I've considered cheating. And this is a unique opportunity to not do any of that. So, I'd like to introduce you to my spin-off of UHC Generations, Hardcore Minecraft Echoes. In this, I'm going to try and develop a settlement, a safe haven for those that'll come after me. I'll try to set up infrastructure. I'll try to set up Easter eggs. I'll try to set up a bit of lore. And use the time to reflect on who I am and what I like to do. I think this will be a unique project in the idea that as soon as my time comes, as death inevitably does for me every time I play hardcore, that I will pass it on to that who will come after me. And I will get to see how they will further develop things, how they'll stumble upon things that I may or may not have done, things that I might not have had the chance to complete. And once their time is over, pass it on to the next, and the next, and the next. I've already gotten started with this project. It's only a matter of time before it happens. But my plan is to persevere as long as I can. I've already had a couple of close calls. A couple of very close calls. A couple of accidents have already happened that should have ended my run. And I've only been playing in the world for 4 or so hours. But I hope that if you're seeing this, you'll join me. You'll join me on this adventure, and you'll join me, or you'll join whoever else comes after me. And so that's why with this one life, I'm going to try and push myself to go beyond what I would normally do. I'm going to try and push myself to be a little bit more creative with the things I'm working on, to be a bit more inspired and work on things that other people will see, almost like writing a story. But instead of writing the story for someone else, like a YouTube viewer, I'm writing the story for myself. I'm doing it for me, for my own personal interest, instead of trying to fulfill someone else's wants or needs. And I think that's a really hard thing for me to admit, that I run off of trying to make other people happy. But I want to do this for me. I want to make me happy. And just know that I'm not discounting you guys either. I know that your viewership is important if you are enjoying what you're seeing, and I will try and make the experience as good as I can. But I'm not going to put so much pressure on myself anymore to make a banger video. And that's okay, because it's for me. But I hope you enjoy anyway. But with all that out of the way, welcome to Hardcore Echoes. We find ourselves in a birch forest, which anyone who's watched my channel for a long period of time knows, this is my least favorite kind of wood. Makes no sense, because in the real world, I like birch. I love birch. I think they look really interesting. But yeah, we're going to do the basic goods, get some wood going, get some stone, get some tools, and let's get some resources going. Of course, we catch some of these chickens to later breed. There was actually 4 of them around, so we got a good start going on. And because starvation is such a big issue in early hardcore maps, we are going to get some food going, especially since I did not see a village or anything like that when I looked around. So we'll get these seeds planted and try and find some sheep because we want to sleep through the nights. I'm actually not going for one where the number of days is important, just the amount of stuff I get done is important, which I like as a change of pace. Now, on the first day, before it got too dark, I went down the beach and found a threesome of sheep that each gave me a wool so I could make a bed. They were very generous, 1 each. No more, no less. At least they were consistent, I suppose. So this did allow us to sleep through the first night, so we did not have to deal with any monsters. The next day, I ended up going further down the beach in search of what I was hoping to find was a village, but instead I found a shipwreck that had not only this map in it, but the second floor also had a bunch of goodies in it. We now have the materials we need to make buckets and shears and stuff like that. Too bad we killed those sheep. That's unfortunate. Oh, never mind. On the way back, there's some sheep right across the way from where we were setting up our base. So I guess when we go to get some sheep later, we'll grab those. I'll have to remember that later. Now that we've made it back to base, I have gone ahead and started working on a journal. I killed a couple of chickens on the way, and on the way back from that shipwreck, I actually got a couple of squids that were willing to part with their ink sacs. And yeah, this is what I'm going to be doing off and on, not only to help remind myself, because sometimes I do take breaks from Minecraft, but I'm actually going to finalize these journals after 10 or 15 pages, I think. Just that way people can have them as a record and see like the stuff that I've done that maybe I'm not talking about in these recordings. As you can see here, I'm documenting very well that, hey, I've secured a food source, so hopefully we'll be alive down the road. Now, I did make a bucket and shield. This way we can actually get a farm more inland, a bit better prepared. This will guarantee that we have lots of food down the road. This is also about the time that I decided that I was going to make sure that the spawn chunks that we were in were labeled pretty accurately. Like at a glance, you could tell, okay, this is what's always going to be loaded, and this is what's not always going to be loaded. And I discovered in my research that Minecraft 1.20 is now using a different baseline of spawn chunks. I guess before it was a 19 by 19 area, but to save on performance for people, they have dropped it back down to 3 by 3. I'm actually wondering if I should up this anyway. I was really trying to avoid using commands in game, but I think that's like one of those things I might want to change. I've also marked where spawn is, and I was planning on building something there, so I don't even have to like move it. So like I was going really hard to try and make it so like there's no quote unquote cheating whatsoever. But we're going to go ahead and actually get this area labeled now. So we're going to line the dirt with sand, and we're going to mark the sand with dirt, and that way we kind of know where the boundaries are for that 3 by 3 area. Now, for about the next 8 days or so, we're going to enter a little bit of a routine. We're going to go ahead and take care of our chickens, make sure that they're well taken care of, fed, make sure we're upping their population as much as possible, check on the crops that we have grown so far, as well as start flattening the area. We're going to burn through a lot of tools over the next 8 days. Also, I found some sugarcane just down the beach, so we got that planted. That's nice. It's going to be very good for us. As you can see, we've already got a lot done at this point, but I still have an entire other hill to flatten here that I want to knock down. To finish up our first day, I went ahead and expanded the rest of the farm. That way we have a bit more to work with later. I also then proceeded to level a lot of the ground that we've claimed here, just so that way it's all kind of level and we can build on top of it. The next day, we went ahead and got started with a mine. I dug all the way down to the coal mining level, and when I flattened everything out, I found a cave that we are now going to explore. This actually gave us a pretty good opportunity to get a lot of iron. This cave is just rich in it. Yeah, I like to press my luck quite a lot. But yeah, no, this cave kept going on and down, and eventually it opens up into this big open area that is very scary when there's all sorts of monsters going through it. And let's just say that it took me quite a while to light it up. But hey, I got a leather chest plate out of it. That'll come in handy, right? But yeah, I think the iron is going to come in handy later. I just, let's hope I get that armor on before I, die or anything. Actually, no, the thing that I'm really looking forward to is having iron tools. Flattening all that area that I did the other day took so many pickaxes to just get it all set up, because stone pickaxes don't have a lot of durability. At some point, I did start getting overrun with monsters, so I decided to make my way back up to the surface, harvested some wheat, and decided to take care of the cows. That way we can get lots of steak going. When this creeper that made absolutely no sound blew up the cow pen, I was able to at least react fast and get it boarded up before any of them could really escape. As you saw, they were all starting making a beeline for freedom, but don't worry, I took care of the stragglers. The next morning, I went ahead and patched up the hole that the creeper had made. Actually, it helped point out that there was a piece of stone there that I neglected to take care of before. So hey, I took care of that. After making some iron tools, we went back down into the cavern. After collecting materials for a little while, I ran across the slime. I was like, oh boy, I can cut him down, and I now know there's a slime chunk here. Oh no, he hurts. Yeah, no, I forgot how easily slimes could just wombo combo you. I decided once he was in the water, he was a little bit safer. But even then, I was still really worried. This was the closest I'd come to death at this point. And I was trying not to really mess it up this early on, because I haven't even hit double-digit hours at this point. I did spend a little bit of time collecting some cobblestone just so I could mark off the area that I thought was the slime chunk. This way, when I come to look at this later, maybe see if there are slime spawning in this area, I can actually make a slime farm for us. That way, just collecting slime won't be a big pain, especially since I don't know where a swamp is yet. Eventually, when I was back on the surface, I decided that the chickens needed their own pen, especially since they're going to be my main source of food, and I need them for writing journals. But holy Hannah, that was a lot of chickens just running at me going, give me the seed, feed me, Seymour. I actually had notes to start building my own house, but I decided that it was better to level a bit more land around the spawn chunks and eventually build this wall. This wall is not pretty at the moment. Right now it's very flat, not three-dimensional, but I'm trying to get it to be functional before I make it look pretty. This did eventually lead me to running into a couple of skeletons who were just playing not very fair. This led to me getting to being the lowest HP I had been up to this point. I was really trying to charge them, get a hit or two in, shield up, but they were just nailing me every single time I dropped the shield. And eventually I just had to run away. It was not worth it. After regenerating some HP, I also made some armor, and I went back and killed them because they were messing things up for me. How dare they? And unfortunately, I did end up running out of cobblestone after a while. I haven't done enough mining up to this point to really have a stockpile, but I think I got enough of the wall built at this point that I feel a lot more secure. I could use other materials and patch it up, but I don't really think that is beneficial to me in the long term. I'm just gonna have to tear it down and put it back up, and I'm trying to avoid having to do that too much. Yeah, let's get some stuff that we need right now set up, but in the meantime, let's not make more work for us in the future. I think in the next episode, I'm gonna try and finish the wall as well as get more of the mine done. I want to get down to diamond level and start getting diamond tools and getting enchantment going. And I think that's what the next episode is going to be focused on, as well as getting my own house and maybe a quest hall set up. Because I want to set up quests for not only myself, but future players in case I exit. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed so far, hit like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode of Hardcore Echoes. See you guys then!